Hello, it's Neve here, and I want to reach out and say congratulations to all the finalists of this year's Real Life Science. I mean, that's it, isn't it? I mean, you were just fantastic examples of it. I got to see all your videos. I'm absolutely just so blown away by the standard. It doesn't matter what age any of you were all doing a fabulous job nailing it. And what I think you were all doing really well was that you were all really passionate about what you were making, what subject you were talking about and trying to explain it. And you found your own unique way of explaining it. You told us stories in the way that you enjoy hearing them. And if you enjoy hearing them, other people will too. And I can tell you, having watched them all, that's definitely true. So I have every faith that we have a very healthy future ahead of us, because we have a country full of really great science explainers. And well done to all of you. And never lose that passion that you have to share how you understand a science fact or how you see the world. Please keep doing it, because we're all interested in people who are interested in things. And we need more and more people to tell us why they're interested in science. So congratulations to you all. Have a fantastic day. I'm waving from my house right now, but by the time this happens, I will be down in the bottom of the world at the Antarctic, and myself and some penguins will be waving back at you. So congratulations everyone, and enjoy your celebration.
Coding is the process of giving computers instructions in a language they understand. Coding is used on laptops, phones, tablets, and much more.
We made this using Lego Education Spike. It's run on battery-powered motors. We used a program similar to Scratch to code our robot to dance. There are lots of different types of robots you can build with this kit, but we decided on this one because we thought it would be fun and interesting to build. We love to dance.
Next, I'm going to make a robot that can dry the dishes. I enjoyed coding and I would love to do it again. Highly recommend coding. Coding is so much fun. Thanks for watching. Learn how to code.
Stories begin, as all good stories begin, at a campfire.
Now, would you please be so kind as to go and get the pan so we can cook our sausages?
Rightio. Right, I got the pan, Daniel.
Good man yourself.
Right,
Now, put it down for me.
Okay. Ah!
Oh no, Kieran! Are you okay?
I burned my hand.
Luckily, I know a lot about scouts and I did my first aid training.
It's red, blistered and very painful.
We need to get you to a safe situation. Luckily, I have the power of editing. The first thing we need to do is cool this burn.
When you get a burn, it's actually slowly cooking your hand like food.
So it's important that you use cold running water to cool the burn.
I'll cover it with this medical dressing to make sure that it doesn't get infected. Next, I'll get this bandage and I'll wrap it around fairly tightly, but not tight enough that it'll stop circulation. If you don't have a bandage, you could use cling film or a clean pillowcase. If it's a severe burn, you should call the emergency numbers 112 or 999.
In the time it took to edit this, Daniel went out and got a medical degree.
This is Kieran's skin. You can see all the hairs. And this is what's underneath those. This is a model of the skin, which is the epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous. Kieran's burn was a second degree burn, so it affected the epidermis and the dermis.
Now that my hand feels better, I'm going to tell you a bit more about wound dressings. The body reacts immediately to a burn. There are many different dressings and different materials, plus technologies to help the wound heal and repair quicker. There are foam and hydrocolloid dressings, which have absorbent properties. Some are made of silver, which protects against infections. Some are made of cooling hydrogel, which cools the skin. These are made of paraffin gauze that protect the skin while it's healing. More advanced materials have inbuilt sensors that relay information as to how the wound is healing.
Can you hear that? The sound of my voice. Also the bird song. Ooh, and the chickens. Well, that's sound. But like, what is it? Is it some magic force entering your brain telling you what to hear? No, it is science. And I'm here to tell you all about it. Let's get into the science. Let's go back a little. What are sound waves? Let me explain it this way. This is air, a bunch of air particles. Now, let me add a vibration. When this vibration activates, it pushes the other air particles, and those air particles push other air particles, and those air particles push some other air particles, and so on. These wave-like motions are called sound waves. Now let's imagine the ear like a bucket. Now, when the sound waves travel into the ear starts hearing. The ear has three parts: outer, middle, and inner. The outer ear funnels these sound waves into the ear canal. The ear canal transfers these waves to the middle ear. In the middle ear, we have the eardrum, which has thin skin stretched across it. You can imagine the eardrum like a drum. The drum collects the sound waves and moves it through the ossicle bones to the cochlea. The inner ear and the final part of the ear contains the cochlea. You can imagine the cochlea like a glass of water with microscopic hair along the sides, although the cochlea looks more like a snail shell than a glass of water. The hairs get pushed by the sound waves, and the hairs tell the brain it has heard something. And voila, you have heard something. Thank you for listening to me. And that is how you can hear this. Bye.
My project is to use AI to address a healthcare system under stress. The average waiting times in A&E is 13 hours, with some counties seeing averages as high as 18 hours. I examined the A&E processes in Dublin to see if an AI tool to diagnose X-rays could speed up the waiting time in A&E. I worked for several months with nurse practitioners, doctors and radiologists from home and abroad to understand the A&E processes, X-ray diagnosis and diagnostic tools. We needed to use the latest technologies to assist with diagnosis. Staff deserve better working conditions, reduced stress, and the benefits of AI is a fast diagnosis that's scalable, accurate, and equitable. Patients deserve faster treatment and control over their health. With an AI diagnosis tool, we can fast-track X-rays and highlight those that need attention. AI, for those who don't know, is a computer program that is able to undertake human-like intelligence processes. An AI neural network is loosely designed on the human brain, and the training of a neural network is called supervised learning. We present the AI network with thousands of X-ray images and tell them how they're categorized. Over many iterations, it is able to perform this categorization on new X-rays that it has never seen before. My first neural network was coded on Python on my home computer. It was a convolutional neural network which specializes in image recognition. A convolutional neural network is made up of two parts, a convolutional layer that extracts features from the X-ray and an evaluation part that learned good from bad X-rays, and it was able to categorize new X-rays once trained. I got 58% accuracy. I needed more power and a bigger model, and I needed to be able to test different models. So I went onto Google Cloud for more computing power. This extra computing power, it was possible to test many model configurations and perform faster with hyperparameter tuning until we got the optimal results. Our results were great. We got 89% accuracy, beating trained professionals by over 15%, with very few false negatives, which is undesirable as we do not want people going home with undiagnosed issues. Will this be accepted by the general public or medical staff for use in A&E? Well, I did a survey of medical professionals and the general public and saw overwhelming support for its use in A&E as part of a diagnosis process. The great benefit is that this tool can be deployed in the cloud for use anywhere in the world, even in areas that lack specialists for X-ray diagnosis. Medical staff with more time and patients get faster results and reduced waiting times.
Let's dive straight in. So we all know that everyone is either left or right-handed, with the rare case of being ambidextrous. But first of all, what is handedness? Handedness or hand preference is the tendency to be more skilled and comfortable using one hand instead of the other, for tasks such as writing and throwing a ball. On average, 85 to 90% of people are right-handed, and 10 to 15% of people are left-handed. Handedness develops during the early stages of life, and then stays consistent throughout life. So what causes handedness? Researchers believe that hand preference arises as part of a developmental process that differentiates the right and left sides of the brain, called brain lateralization. If two parents are right-handed, their child has a 10% chance of being left-handed. However, if the child has a parent who is left-handed, there is a 22% chance of them being left-handed. If both parents are left-handed, the chance goes up to 27%. The genetic proposal to explain hand preference states there are two alleles associated with handedness, the C gene and the D gene. The D gene, which is more frequently occurring, promotes right hand preference. The C gene is less likely to occur, but when it is present, the hand preference is determined randomly, meaning that they have a 50% chance of being right-handed and a 50% chance of being left-handed. Now let's look at dominant eyes. Dominant eyes is when you use one eye more than the other, have better vision in one eye, or can focus on something better with one eye. Knowing which eye is dominant can be important for activities that require you to focus on a target, such as archery or looking through a microscope. Approximately 30% of the population has a dominant left eye, while 70% of the population has a dominant right eye. Taking all of this into account, we decided to conduct an experiment to see if there is a connection between handedness and dominant eyes. We then also decided to use these results to calculate the probability of all four possible combinations. For example, right hand and right eye, right hand and left eye, left hand and right eye, and left hand and left eye. We started off by taking a random sample of 50 students from our school. We made small paper sheets for each student to fill out. Firstly, to see which eye is their strongest, we drew a dot on the board and asked them to make a circle with their hands as shown. Then we asked them to close an eye and see if the dot is still in the middle. If the dot stays in the middle, then the eye they have open is their dominant eye. We also asked them their hand preference. Now let's look at the results of the experiment. We analyzed the results and decided to display them in the form of a bar chart and a pie chart. All of the results were supported by our research. Additionally, based on these results, we were also able to calculate the probability of a 12 to 18-year-old chosen randomly of having one of these four combinations. So the moment that you've all been waiting for, is there a connection between handedness and your dominant eye? Well, while your dominant hand and eye are linked because they both relate to how the brain's hemisphere control particular functions in the body, this link is not always consistent and people can have different combinations of hand and eye dominance. Therefore, taking all of our background research and results into account, we conclude that there is no consistent relationship between your dominant hand and your dominant eye. We really enjoyed learning about this topic and we hope you did too. Thank you.
This is Bob.
Look, Bob, it's safe, I swear.
You really expect me to believe that? I wasn't born yesterday. It wasn't that bad.
Bob lives his life as usual, not feeling different in any way whatsoever. But if we take a look at his lungs, Bob's lungs are definitely feeling a bit different. This is because inside of Bob's disposable vape are some not so fun chemicals, including acrolein, often used as weed killer, lead, typically used in pencils, and of course, diacetyl, a chemical linked primarily to lung disease and the infamous popcorn lung. Popcorn lung certainly has a unique name, and there is a story behind it. Popcorn lung was first recorded in the early 2000s from workers in microwave popcorn factories. The diacetyl entered their lungs, damaging small airways. This chemical is used in every vape to this day. But sure, it's not as bad as smoking, right? Right? This is Bob, 6 months into daily vape usage. Let's check in with those lungs, shall we? Well, that's certainly not normal. His lungs are inflamed and enlarged from the strain they've been put under over the past 6 months. But Bob can't stop now. He's addicted. At least his brain is. The amount of dopamine he receives from the nicotine is incredibly high, and his brain associates this happiness with vaping. The bad thing about this, other than the smoke itself, is that your baseline level of dopamine decreases the higher the peak level of dopamine reached is. The higher the peak, the lower the baseline goes. This means Bob has to smoke more to feel as happy as he did his first time vaping. These 6 months of vaping, unbeknownst to Bob, have set him up for a life of health problems. He now runs the risk of cardiovascular disease, lung disease, seizures, and thanks to his newfound nicotine addiction, he has a very high chance of becoming a smoker. This is Bob, and there's a lot more like him. In Ireland alone, 18% of teenagers are avid vapers, and this number has only gone up since the study in 2019.
Teen vaping is a terrible epidemic. It's leading countless teens to a life of health problems and difficulties, but we can change it.
We hope by watching our projects that you'll be able to see the long-lasting effects of vaping on bodies young and old. And as your narrator, I hope these past few minutes weren't too hard to sit through.
Just going up to you now. August tá peeing in my clothes. Oh, Mister, that choked or August. Can you know to go get you on doctor or niche? It looks as though you have a bacterial infection. I'm going to prescribe you an antibiotic. Take it 3 times a day for 5 days. Make sure she finishes this course of antibiotics. Hi. Hello. Penicillin. Did you know the penicillin was discovered by mistake by Dr. Alexander Fleming in 1928? Really? By mistake?
Dr. Fleming, having served as a doctor during World War I, had witnessed the death and devastation that bacterial infections caused. He was determined to find a cure. He started studying many forms of nasty bacteria in his lab.
In 1928, Dr. Fleming decided to go on a trip and left his lab in St. Mary's Hospital in London in, let's just say, a bit of a mess.
On his return, he noticed that there was a fungus growing in one of his petri dishes, and around this fungus was clear, and the bacteria was dead.
Dr. Fleming decided to name this bacteria-fighting substance penicillin. This messy mistake has saved millions of lives and continues to this day.
So, how do antibiotics actually work?
Once swallowed, the antibiotics travel down through the esophagus to the stomach.
From there, it travels into the small intestine and through the intestine wall. The antibiotics then travel into a network of blood vessels that feed into veins.
From these veins, the medicine then goes into the liver.
Enzymes in the liver attempt to react with the antibiotic molecules by neutralizing them.
The majority of the molecules make it through the liver unharmed.
They continue their journey out of the liver through the veins into the circulatory system.
In the circulatory system, the medicine then travels throughout the body on a loop, through every limb and organ in the body, including the heart, brain, kidneys, and back through the liver.
When the antibiotic molecules encounter their target, bacteria, it tries to destroy it by either attacking the wall or coating of the bacteria, interfering with bacterial reproduction, or blocking protein production in the bacteria.
We asked Dr. Casey Hussey about antibiotic resistance.
What is antibiotic resistance?
Antibiotic resistance happens when bacteria over time change to antibiotics. This has allowed the bacteria to fight the antibiotic that was originally developed to kill them or stop them spreading. Instead, the changed bacteria survive and continue to spread, causing more harm. What do you think we could do to prevent antibiotic resistance?
By having a good diet, sleep and exercise. Having a healthy mind. Practice good hygiene. Getting your vaccines and taking your antibiotics as your doctor tells you to.
Agus féidir chuir inis, is féidir le a siomra galach. Ní féidir am sin a dhéanamh bháim, tá gafa le fungus nua a haon imig le bactéir. I should have just tidied my room.
Okay, everybody, let's brainstorm how to make our science do the best it can be.
How about we start with a funny skit? We can pretend to be planets and act out our unique features.
I want to be Speedy Mercury. I'll zoom around the room.
What do you mean, Speedy?
Mercury, it's the fastest moving planet in our solar system.
Huh? I didn't know that. And I could be Pluto, the four-year planet, feeling all left out but still rocking my dwarf planet status.
Let's also talk about the crazy distances in space. Like, did you know it takes like 8 minutes to reach Earth from the sun?
8 minutes? Does it really? And speaking of the sun, it's like our cosmic disco ball, keeping us alive and moving with light and warmth.
I can't forget about Jupiter. It's the biggest planet. We can show its massive size by using objects that everyone's familiar with.
Like what?
Like if Earth were the size of a 5-cent coin, Jupiter would be about the size of a basketball. And don't forget about Saturn with its rings. We can wear hula hoops and pretend we're Saturn for that part.
What about a rap song about our solar system? We can make a rhyme about each planet and their unique traits.
Yeah!
Mercury's fast, you won't even see it as it's flashing past. Venus here and oh so hot in fact that I can melt a rock. What about Mars, the reddest in sight? Next to Earth, you can see it in the night. Jupiter, the biggest of them all. 95 moons standing bright and tall.
Look at us, we're the solar system.
No, we're not, we're just children.
Ha ha, you're so funny.
Huh?
I was being the asteroid belt. I'll just jump around randomly between the planets.
Imagine traveling from one end of the solar system to another. It'd take years.
And don't forget, our solar system is just a tiny speck in a vast universe.
Shouldn't we be filming something here?
Yeah, this deadline is approaching faster than Mercury.
Okay, everyone, let's get into our starting positions then. And 3, 2, 1, action.
Is gná lá atá ann agus tá gach rud cear go leor. Ach go tubann, tosníonn an talamh ag bog a fút.
Tá an feirgnamh ag glúscáil thaobh go taobh. Tá crit talún ar siúl.
Ní tharlaíonn sin anseo in éireann, ach gach lá bhíonn creatha talún ar siúl, agus bulcán ag brúachta in áiteanna eile timpeall an domhan. Ach cén fá?
Le sin a thuiscint, caithfidh muid leabhar faoi theas.
tá isce sa fota seo. Léir do Horlins don fisa pop ósacion. Casan sé timpeall mar go bhfuil te ag tacht a níos ón bota isce. Níl an téir te có de lú is atá an téir fór timpeall agus mar sin ordún sé. Cred é nó ná cred, tá rud céine siúl faoin talamh. Is trí go leir an flanéid tá sreathna a thugtar an mantlín, an críomha agus an críoste atá an te. Seasan muide thra tánaí soladach a thugtar an scrab. Ach ní fisa bháin soladach é an scrab, tá sé déanta suas de phlátaí difriúla. Faoin scrab sa mantlín tá clocha láte a thugtar magma. In átainna ina bhfuil sé níos tó, ordún ón magma dír cosú leis ón airteag ordún ón isce. Nuair a bhogann an magma, brúann sé na plátaí atá ag siar agus sleamhnaíonn siad timpeall. Thar na milliún bliain tá an fórsa sin tar éis dromchla an phlánéid a bhogad timpeall. Mar hampla, scar an Afric ó America has agus níos déanaí tháinig America has agus America thua le chéile. In áiteanna eile tagann gá pláta le chéile agus brúann siad an talamh suas le sléibhte a dhéanamh. Hála sin na milliún bliain ó hin nua a bhúil an India an cuid eile don Áise agus rinne siad na Himalaya na sléibhte is airde ar domhan. In áiteanna eile a bhís bhíonn gá pláta ag sláú in Ayakila. Nuair a bhogann na plátaí go tabann bhíonn cuid talún an. Uaireanta bíonn barna sa scrap agus is féidir leis an magna tacht a níos go dtiomchla an domhan. Tuirtear bólcán ar na hásanna seo. A rís tá an tálinn anseo in éireann nach bhfuil bólcán sa tír seo ach bhí siad an fadó.
Let me take you on a journey through time, a tale of life's progression as a paradigm. From single-cell creatures in the primordial sea to complexity of humans, this evolution, you see. Started with a bang, the big bang that's a spark, creating galaxies, stars and planets in the dark. Then Earth formed, a ball of rock and fire. Life began to stir, just a spark, a tiny flyer. Evolution, the grand design. From the simplest forms, we climb. Millions of years ago, life took its first steps. Microbes and bacteria, in the depths they crept. Over time, they evolved a billion years or more. Complexity emerged from the ocean floor. Fish sprouted limbs and they crawled onto land. Amphibians emerged, it was all so grand. Reptiles took the stage with scales and might. Dinosaurs roamed the earth, incredible sight. Then came the asteroid, a catastrophic blow. Dinosaurs met their end, it was time to go. Mama seized the moment, they began to rise. Evolution's plan, a mammalian surprise. From tiny shrews to apes, the family tree grew. Hominids evolved and their brains they knew. Culture and tales, we harnessed the land. Bipedal and smart, the rise of the modern man. Now we stand here, the pinnacle of it all, from primordial soup to skyscrapers tall. But remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Evolution's ongoing, it's a conversation. So let's protect the earth, it's the cradle of our birth. Preserve the diversity for all it's worth. Through struggle and change, we've come so far. Evolution's rhythm, like a shining star.